As I mentioned before, there's this guy named Igor who works as an assistant to 3 scientists at the Nasal Observatory. The scientists are total klootzes. There's Papaya, the forgetful leader, Banani, a walking disaster, and Ravioli, whose mind is always on food. Igor never fails to tell me about the chaos his bosses create. And I was mentioning how they only realized at the 11th hour that they had to head out for a work conference. We left off when they had just gotten into the taxi, packed like sardines and buried under the avalanche of their luggage. And Ravioli, after all the effort to get in, realized he had forgotten his passport at the office. After they talked about the book, Ravioli shows up at the window. The passport is missing. Bernani suggests it might be in one of the suitcases. Great idea, Bernani. Now they just have to unload all the luggage from the taxi again and start searching. What a well-coordinated team. While Bernani unloads the luggage, Ravioli opens them up on the ground to look for the passport. Meanwhile, Papaya's worried about the flight schedule. The taxi driver isn't too fond of this plan. Since he's already pocketed the tip and doesn't want to waste any more time with these bumbling idiots, he waits until they've unloaded everything and then speeds off. Dear taxi driver, you thought it'd be that easy to get rid of those fools. But it's not. In fact, Bernani's suspenders got caught in the taxi's luggage rack. So, when the taxi takes off, it drags Bernani along, who, running, yells for help. Now, let's stop for a moment and think. Point 1. Who, in this day and age, besides children, still wears suspenders? This guy must be the only one or one of the few left on the planet. I hope none of you listeners take offense, but I must reveal that suspenders are very elegant. But unfortunately, they've been out of fashion for about 100 years. Point 2. What are the absurd odds that Bernani managed to make a movement where the suspenders got caught in the trunk? Point 3. If the taxi driver was behind the wheel, ready to leave, he couldn't have closed the trunk unless he had an electronic control. This could be one hypothesis. But there's another one, which I find more likely. And that's one that a genius like Bernani could have more easily managed. If the taxi driver left with the trunk closed, it means that after unloading all the bags, Bernani also closed the doors and the trunk. So it's a clear case of encouragement. All that was missing was Bernani saying, "Please, go ahead." Anyway, after being dragged around for about 100 meters, the Lord has mercy on the poor soul, and his suspenders break, leaving him lying on the ground all sore, and probably with torn clothes. Igor confided in me that the 3 always walk around in their lab coats. Just in case, you know. An opportunity arises to do some occasional experiment. Like calculating the speed at which a brioche falls into a cappuccino at the cafe. Anyway, in this case, the lab coat saved Bernani from getting a nice set of scratches. Banani needs a break to recover from the incident. Nothing better than a chat with Ravioli about his book. The two are talking about the second fact, that Jesus' disciples were convinced they saw him resurrected in the flesh. But Ravioli, unlike scholars, doesn't believe it and thinks it's an invention of the church. Banani agrees with him. Ravioli goes back to looking for his passport and finally finds it. Do you know where it was? He had it in his pocket the whole time. Igor quips with one of his remarks. Sometimes the truth is like Ravioli's passport. We don't see it even when it's right under our nose. Hey, Igor always has me in stitches with his stories. And those scientists, they leave me speechless. Friends, if this story was to your liking, there are many more waiting for you at Save Blog. Check it out at saveblog.com.